I'm Natalie Collis and I was born in East Fremantle. I wanted some adventure actually, and I wanted to do some travelling. So I thought something like the military would provide a bit of adventure, travel and learn a new career. So I chose the Navy, and that's when they discussed with me going in as a radio operator, something totally different. So when we went to the first Gulf War, on HMS Australia there were 7 women, 2 were officers and 5 were junior sailors. I was one of the junior sailors. So the role of the HMS Australia, it was a replenishment ship and refuelling ship. So we were refuelling all the international ships and Australia ships throughout the time that we were there. We were actually in the middle of the battle group most of the time, with all the American and international warships surrounding us, and daily we would replenish or refuel a couple of ships a day. We were very busy during that time. The things that I remember that really stick out as in a warlike situation was the floating mines. Saddam Hussein had dropped a heap of floating mines into the Gulf region, and our ship was completely at danger of this. We had to have a 24-hour person on watch up the front of the ship to look out for mines because the radar couldn't always detect them. And they'd actually hit 2 ships. USS Princeton and USS Tripoli had been hit by floating mines, and that was very close call because we were actually in that same position 2 days prior. Because we've got the aviation fuel in the front of our ship, it would have just gone up. We wouldn't have just had a hole in it. It would have just gone up like a rocket. So it could have been us easily. I think a lot of people actually didn't understand that. They thought that we were on the outer edge of the Gulf, but we weren't. We were actually in the middle of the battle group. Also, Saddam lit up all the oil wells, which it was a terrible hue of smoke. Every time you were out on the upper decks, there was just black smoke everywhere because all of the wells that he lit up were just producing so much smoke. They were just burning constantly 24/7. When we went ashore, you could definitely feel the tension. Even when we went into Dubai, I was in Dubai for leave. We had a day off and we could go and wander around the streets. And often the boys wouldn't come with us because we were girls, and the other girls might be on duty, so you might end up going with only 1 or 2 of you and wandering around Dubai. When I was returning back to the ship one night, my friends were a couple of 100 metres behind me, and I was walking a bit faster, and a vehicle actually circled me on the wharf and tried to pull me into the vehicle. Of course, I'm blonde, white, and I obviously look like a target. So these gentlemen tried to pull me into the car, and my first reaction was to poke him in the eyes, and it worked. So he did actually release me, and I fell to the ground, and my friends then came running, and then the car sped off, but they were actually trying to abduct me. But when the CSWAR came through in February, we did go ashore as well near Kuwait, and the Kuwaiti people were actually celebrating, and they were coming up to us with their flags and shaking our hand and saying thank you. And we were kind of shocked because we didn't expect that, but that was the point that I realised we did actually help that country, and they were very grateful. During that time, that 6 months of deployment in the Gulf, I think it made me stronger, but it also broke me. So I was fighting between being broken and being strong enough to get through it, and not showing that I couldn't do my job, because my job was very important to me. So I was fighting between being terrified and stressed and trying to actually do a good job as well. But I definitely wanted to get out of there as soon as possible. And our deployment kept getting extended just because we were doing so much good work with refuelling the ships that were peacekeeping after the war as well. As I look back 30 years, I'm definitely happy that we did actually free Kuwait and we did the job that we were sent there to do. And also I got a lot out of the experience, self-discipline and leadership, and the Navy made me very independent and resilient, and learnt a lot about myself too, how far I can push myself, how much trauma can I take, especially being a paramedic. So it did teach me a lot about life. I think us 7 women were definitely groundbreakers. And we did pave the way, because after that, more women joined and went off to sea deployments. And in general, we were the first women in an operational or combat role for the Australian Defence Force. So we were breaking barriers for all of the Defence Force, not just the Navy. So it was very significant at the time. We definitely were groundbreakers, and I think even in my roles now in paramedicine and nursing, I am a mentor for women to achieve whatever they want to achieve.